now we're going to go to the next topic, which is the regenerative tourism, where we have managed to bring together a really big group to talk about regenerative tourism and share with you all together. So we're going to be talking and listening, and yeah, this session is going to be, yes, a panel, but a different panel because it's going to be an interactive panel. So I will be explaining the different pieces in a bit. And yeah, because we have been, first thing I want to say, and this is something I say all the time, and please again, switch on your cameras. It's really just helpful if we can see you while you're talking. You think we're not looking at you. No, we're seeing you because when somebody is doing a talk and sharing about their ideas, they need the feedback of the faces of other people. Yes? And that is really, really important. So thank you all for putting on the cameras, and whoever else can do. We're all just very thankful for it all the time. So now some have been listening, some have not been listening, and some have been moving coming from stress. So maybe before we start, just do a bit of stretching and moving. That really might be helpful. I've been sitting for a couple of hours. Others might have been running just to arrive, driving, doing stuff. And we're just arriving at bodies now. And yeah, and that is a bit the piece we're going to do. Yeah, and that when we felt our bodies and we've stretched a bit, then we're going to be listening to the different projects we have here. And the first round is just a really small and fast presentation round. So I will just say now who starts, and I will just go through the way I have here on the screen and then name the next ones always, okay? So now I will ask Anya to present first. Brief presentation of your project, what you do, what does it have to do with regenerative tourism, where you're at, maximum 1 minute, and the next one is going to be Daniela. Okay?
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Anya. I'm based in Italy. My project is also based in Italy, in the rural part of Tuscany. And I'm co-managing a regenerative co-living space there for digital nomads, which is also a permaculture farm. And the project that I'm representing here specifically is a Erasmus Plus project that I've been running last year together with Claudia from the Conscious Marketing Movement. So the project was sort of at the intersection of regenerative tourism and conscious marketing. So how can we promote those regenerative places in a conscious, ethical way, and not use the traditional marketing methods? And what we did was that we brought tourism professionals to the space, to Tertulia, for a week, to work on really on a case study. So we were looking at the project, we were seeing what can be improved, and then we had also some online trainings. So the whole project ran for like half a year, and now we're just finishing.
Okay, then now Daniela and then Liz.
Yeah, thank you. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Dani. I'm originally from Chile, but I live in the south of Spain in a small town called Agua Dulce near Almeria. And I'm here with a project called AUCA Experience that is immersive regenerative journeys that weave systemic thinking, embodiment, nature-based practice, indigenous wisdom, and regenerative tourism. And we have the most important one is in the northern Patagonia in Chile, in a place called Huilo Huilo. We just had one in December. We're having another one in November. And I have many different hats. So this is just one, but I have a big background with travel journalism for more than a decade, but also sustainable development and regenerative development. I'm a regenerative practitioner from Regenesis, and also work for the League of Entrepreneurs, which is an NGO and weaving regeneration in different levels. But my main goal is also connect the most important parts and the right relationship with ourselves, others, and the living world. So that through these experiences. Thank you.
Yes. Great. Lis and then Sonia.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Lis. I'm from Ecuador, but actually I'm based in Portugal. My project calls Quintí. Quintí is a regenerative initiative in Ecuador. We work directly with the local people, indigenous peoples, but the young people too. We try to do a bridge with the visitors and with the local spaces, because for us it's really important to create this small connection in a small scale with the journey. My principal role in the company is like the bridge with the partnerships with the people, with the visitors, and we all the time co-create the experience with the students too, some universities, and in some cases the private organizations. Yeah, this is me.
Okay. Sonia and then Gabriela.
I'm based in Spain in the mountains of Barcelona. I'm founder of the Regen Lab for Travel. I'm a regenerative practitioner as well, and work with grassroots initiatives, with local leaders, entrepreneurs, and DMOs, etc., exploring how tourism can move beyond sustainability into regeneration. And my work sits at the intersection of facilitation, consulting, and education. I support people and places in shifting their mindset and their practice, designing tourism in a way that is aligned with living systems, and that it contributes to the health and flourishment of a place.
Okay. After Gabriela, Jesus, and I think that's it. No. After Gabriela, Jesus, and then Anu.
Okay, thank you very much, Katy, and hi everyone. My name is Gabriela. I'm a specialist in tourism. I have more than 15 years of experience in different roles in sectors like planning, marketing, sales, operations, and logistics in the tourism field always. And I've been very lucky because I've been living and having this experience in several countries. My homeland, that is Ecuador, but also my second homeland is Spain, and now I have a third homeland because since the summer I'm based in Portugal as well as Lis, and yeah, I've been working both in public and private organizations, so this gives me like an overview of these both worlds and how they can handle and manage tourism together. And last year I founded Uma Collab, that is basically a consultancy firm that helps and advise organizations the best way possible on the creation of tourism products and in their marketing in the trade of tourism. And it has a very special component because I don't like the conventional way of doing tourism, but I really aim to attract prosperity to the territories and also to improve the quality of life of the people and the living beings inside them. So yeah, that's me and my project.
Jesus? You're muted.
Okay, I can see it. Okay, hello everyone. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here sharing our project and our mission. I'm here representing AETNIC, that is a non-profit sustainable tourist association located in Barcelona. And we are doing very different projects all related to promote responsible and sustainable tourism with the aim to improve quality of life of people and all related to tourist activities. So we are here to share opinions, to try to build a nice network ecosystem related to regenerative tourism. And I'm very happy to share all our opinions, projects. We are working internationally. We are doing some projects related to the South, like in Gambia, Morocco. Also doing some projects related to social innovation here in Spain or in Barcelona. So I can give you more information of all the projects that we are doing. I'm very happy to be here to share all our opinions. So that's it.
It's me, I suppose, now.
Yes.
Yeah, the last but not the least. Yes, hello, and thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Anu from Finland, but we had a connection in between almost all of us in our panel discussion, a connection to Spain or Spanish language, and that's what connects me also. I've been living more than 10 years in Spain, but now I've been living again back in Finland for many years. Well, I've been working in tourism the whole life, in education, and at the moment, why I am here, I've been studying or learning the regenerative tourism in 2 different communities. The other one is the one of Sonia's, the Region Lab, and the other one is Turismo Regenerativo, based in Chile. And I'm going to talk about my project, which is I'm putting into practice what I've been learning the last 6 years now with others here in Finland, and helping companies in Finland to understand what regenerative tourism means in workshops, but also putting them into practice in my own projects, which are called Love Forest Finland, and the other one is a basement in a rural area, which I'm just starting to develop with the local community.
Okay. Great to have heard a bit of you. And now we're going to go to one more step before going into the dialogue, because we're going to talk about regenerative tourism. And some people of you are going to say, what is that? So before we're going to talk about it, I've invited Sonia to give us a really short introduction on what we're talking about.
Right. So I've got 5 minutes to talk about what regenerative tourism means. So that's a huge challenge. I mean,
Yeah,
sorry.
You could fill a whole week with it, I know.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, well, first of all, what is regenerative? So at its core, it means, supporting the capacity of living systems to renew, to evolve, and to thrive over time, right? And regenerative approaches go beyond doing less harm or simply maintaining the status quo. The focus is always on creating the conditions to flourish, right? So where does tourism fit in here? So when we talk about regenerative tourism, we're not talking about a label, or we're not talking about a set of good practices or best practices. It's a shift in focus, right? So from an ecological perspective, because that's a very important perspective, regeneration follows nature's principles. So it's about recognizing that places are living systems and that tourism is part of those systems. It's not something separate from them. So we need to respect, on the one hand, planetary boundaries, but also respect nature's rhythms. Regeneration integrates scientific knowledge, so it has a very powerful scientific basis, foundations, with local and ancestral wisdom, and that's very important. It always starts with the place, with the community, its ecology, identity, and it asks, how can tourism contribute to the long-term health, to the resilience and vitality of that place, instead of extracting from it? So instead of starting with a visitor experience or the product, the final product, we put the focus on the place itself, and we ask questions such as, what does this territory need to thrive? What relationships need care, or what potential already exists in here that we can unlock? So it starts with observation, with active listening, and not universal recipes. And very importantly, it seeks to build the capacity of territories to evolve and regenerate socially, ecologically, or even economically. And this capacity to evolve is very important in regeneration, as living systems do, for resilience as well. So in summary, the principles are: tourism strengthens relationships with ourselves, with others, with nature. It uses a systemic approach that is aligned with the principles of living systems. It unlocks the inherent potential of a territory. It expresses the essence and identity of a place. That's really, really important as well. It fosters diversity as nature does. So tourism is not like a separate entity. It does need to collaborate. It's interrelated with other sectors and with the whole ecosystem. And it builds evolutionary capacities within the territory to foster self-sufficiency and empowerment. So we move away from this conventional role of an external expert to really build these capacities and capabilities of the place and the use of collective intelligence of a place. And the experiences, the final experiences that we're offering to the traveler, emerge from the place itself. So they are not scripted products, but living experiences that foster connection, care, and reciprocity. And the traveler is then invited to slow down, to listen, and to become part of the place rather than a simple consumer of it. That's my 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. You kept perfectly in time, had it all very well summarized. And yeah, I hope this brought the idea a bit clearer. So now we're going to do some more or less experimental stuff. And here is a piece of experimenting, because now I'm going to share a document where you all can see and edit. And it is here. And we're going to be working and writing on this document where I wanted to put in all the things before, but it didn't allow me to open it without talking. So we're going to have a couple of rounds, and we're going to be working on 2 guiding questions. Focus question number 1 is how to handle dialogue with traditional institutions. Regenerative organizations usually work and think very differently than traditional institutions. So how does this dialogue with those big traditional institutions happen? What are the positive and negative patterns? And the other thing is the same, is we're going to talk about the same on how to do marketing with regenerative tourism with big or small institutions. So at the moment, we're going to go into breakout rooms. We're going to give those breakout rooms 12 minutes. This is for the tech support, please. Yeah, give it 12 minutes. And there are clear assignations who goes to which breakout room. And then we're going to spend, at this point, only the panel members bringing in observations on what happens a lot that we experience as positive or as problematic, or sometimes around these questions when you talk to big institutions and when you do marketing. Okay? So, yes, Anna, then you just go into the breakout room and listen. Okay? But we're going all into, yes, we're going all to go into some breakout rooms. And Dominic, if somebody else comes in, you just send them after us, okay?
Yeah,
Lumia, you're all good to go?
I'm good to go.
Yes, Lumia is going to be the moderator and note taker in breakout room number 2 or number 1. I don't know. So Dominic, let's just go, then we come back, and then we go back into the same breakout rooms for a second round. But we need some more instructions before that, okay? So, Dominic, please send us.
Reinforce this, that sometimes regeneration is happening, but we don't know. And I have this feeling, especially with indigenous communities, because they are very community. They have very community-led initiatives going on in their processes because of the ancestral acknowledgement that they have. But we don't put them the tag of, okay, this is sustainable, this is regeneration. It's just happening. So that, I think, that are 2 of the positive things from my side.
So we have a bit left. I think it's either Anu or Lis. Before we send back.
For a positive aspect, really.
Yes.
I feel really in small territories, you can find a strong organization levels. It's really important because in some case, the people feel alone and look for another people like us, for example, and try to connect, create a community, create these type of bubbles to help and create a different project.
Mm-hmm. One last fast thing for Manu.
Yeah, well, I think that we could consider also the small communities as official institutions in a way in the rural areas, to start with a smaller scale and then have examples to offer for the bigger institutions. That's what I'm doing at the moment, and I will see how does it work if I have examples to offer for the bigger institutions. So I think it's easier to convince also the bigger ones when I have started with the smallest.
To come in. I can wait you out if you don't want to talk. Why does this happen? What does it leads to?
Why is this all happening? I suppose those are we also, I think we were giving the answers a little bit in our previous talking. Why is this happening? We are lacking the change of mindset still, and it takes time because there are stakeholders and decision makers who have so different values also, and they might be very much they are not used to change the attitude which is needed now, because they are part of the system, and now we are talking about a little bit like breaking the system which we are used to live in. I would say that the biggest problem is the time which this transformation is taking, and it needs to take time. We are talking about the transformation and the transformational way of understanding, also learning and changing the mindset. And transform. You need to leave something behind to be able to receive something new in your thinking and attitude. I would say that that's the biggest problem I'm facing, and that's behind the reasons that the politics and the stakeholders and the traditional institutions are not ready.
Okay, John also wanted to bring something in.
Well, it was just that if it's a matter of political pressure, I think that if you have a group that's big enough, so if you're just alone with your little small group, you're not going to be able to introduce any kind of regenerative tourism or anything. So you really have to find, I think, before you approach any big institutions, you really have to find a lot of voices. So you have to really look around and who's willing to support you, and try to find a bunch of people so that then you'll have some success, because I mean, everyone knows how these political processes work. If you're just one little actor, then it can have it potentially, if you have the right contact, you can make a big difference, which I think it increases a lot more first.
Yeah, we will. John,
communicate with others then.
Your connection is a bit spotty. I took this last thing. What we could do is for the next step, we're just looking at understanding the situation. So I focused on this on your answer. So I think there were some things I had problems writing down because distractional inputs around me. So what we have, like things that happen or why it happens, is there's a short-term vision that administrations have because of the deadlines that bring out, yes, that brings out of line with the people. Which is like in the political system and the voting system, my thing, yes. The political lines are different. I didn't catch that totally. Yes. We do have different types of mentality, political flavor. This goes here probably. Then we lack the right mindset, and it takes a lot of time to change the mindset. So stakeholders and decision makers have traditional mindsets, and they are not prepared to change the attitude. And it's a big change we're proposing from a different mindset. And the problem is that transformation, the time it needs, and we have to leave something behind, and that is also difficult for the people because they have to leave some belief out to understand what we're doing. And then also the add-on that small groups have it difficult. I would say here small grassroots groups, yes, have it difficult because they're not taken seriously, and being few makes it more difficult, yes. The answer, there would be more people, but as I say, this is for the next step, okay? So anything else you want to add to that or correct my notes because I didn't catch what you were saying?
No, the main thing is the small groups have a hard time. So if they team building or something with other groups. Yeah.
Keep this for the next part, okay? The team building. We're going back to that, okay?
Okay.
Gabriela has switched on the camera, so I guess she wants to say something too.
Yeah, that also I found regarding to what John was commenting. I also have found this that we have a talk several times. For example, Anu already said that small scale projects, in this case, are the ones that are leading this change, because the mainstream is not handling this. But I do believe that from a small scale, there is like the way or a way to really try to make projects that have this regenerative component, because the conventional models, this mechanical system in which we live, is not leading us to that. So it's more easy to do it in a small scale. So that I think that is a positive pattern that we have found. And I believe that also we need to be open, because how it is going to evolve, we don't know. But I think that also that's part of the regenerative models, that we're very open to evolution of the things that we are doing.
Yes. Anu?
Yes, I was just thinking that when we talk about sustainability, sustainable tourism, and regenerative thinking and regenerative tourism, one of the differences is the politics and the kind of activism, but that's a positive point. At least I feel being involved in the learning process, that we are encouraged to be brave enough to give the voice also for those who normally don't have the voice.
Sorry, I just got distracted a moment, so I didn't write anything down.
Okay. Now, one of the differences in between sustainability and regeneration is that we are encouraged to be more active, a kind of activism point of view, giving voice for those who normally don't have the voice. Also nature, giving voice to nature, giving voice to the small societies and people who normally don't have any possibilities to be involved. So a kind of one of the points is politics when we look at the points figured out as a regeneration.
Okay, so now that we have this, I would just, as we have the short-term vision, we have the political, I will just think it's about a big change, all this. I think this brings it all together. Where is the problem? Where is what we're fighting with? It's a big change and it's a difficult change. Yes? Is it okay if I just do this summary?
Well, the difficult,
give Lis a
I don't
second.
know.
Complex, yes?
Yeah.
Lis, we're going to be sent back in nothing. So if we want to hear Lis, it's now.
Yeah, it's really small.
Yes.
These type of projects don't support to the capitalists. That's all.
Just to give the recording button. And they're not prepared. A lot of it's that we have a big change and it's a complex process for people to do this change of mindset, that it's taking time, that it needs you to leave something behind, and that makes it difficult. That small groups at one time have the difficulty of not being taken seriously, but at the same time they are leading in this change because it's easier for them to be different. And they're not capitalistic, as Lis said in the beginning. And that we need to be open. We don't know how it's going to be to evolve, and that this evolutionary idea is part of regenerative thinking. And that regenerative being encourages us to be more active, to give voice to nature and small people, not listened voices. Sorry if I didn't write everything right. That is what we have now. So now the invitation, just a question. Now the invitation is going to be just first for Anu, Lis, and Gabriela, and then for the others to share some conclusions and some ideas of what we can do that have come out. If it's a new learning of the dialogue we've just had, it would really be great. Yes? What does make sense that we do that?
Well, I think one point is when we need funding for all this work that we are doing at the moment. That's something that I've been, even though I am a solo entrepreneur and doing this project in very small scale, from the beginning, I tried to find funding to transformation. And that's something that bringing this together, I tried to hear also the decision makers understand what they are able to support. Also trying to find the EU fundings, what kind of fundings we can use for this transformation. And at the moment, my conclusion has been, at least in Finland and in European level, that we can start from the rural communities and rural areas, because we can get easier funding, because in all countries in Europe, almost in all countries, we have facing the problem that people are moving away from the rural areas, and we need to do something to have the rural areas alive, and regeneration can be the engine to help the rural areas. And well, that's something that I at least find it very nice way to work on the projects.
Well, I totally agree with Anu in that because I've been working with public funds for a while, and that's true. It's like where there are some weakness in the conventional, and I love what Lis said before we end the last session, is that in the capitalist systems, big urban destinations or territories, in the case of tourism, they feel that they have everything solved and that they go through this exploitation and growth in a way that regeneration, it seems that it doesn't have a clear opportunity. But in rural areas, it is not happening in that way. And foundings is one of the public politics that are working there. So I totally agree with Anu in that. And also, I would say like something that is crucial, a part of the funding, is the strength of communities. Or any kind of communities. For example, what you are doing here in Peripheral Links is one of that examples, and any other movement, project, initiative that go to that goal, I think that is very important because communities are more strong as a bunch of individuals that if the individuals goes alone by themselves. So I believe that to build communities is a very important and crucial thing to move on.
Yes?
Yeah, I only feel this part is really important, but I think we need to working in a collective mindset in small groups, because when we don't work with, for example, with the friends or neighborhoods, it's difficult to create something. And I think the base is try to work in a collective mindset, collective project, collective things. And then, for example, when the people have a specific thing or specific trouble, when have a brainstorming works, and then this is a good way to first find a politic line, or maybe find a role in a politic line. So
So the two lines that have been made like as, and there's 2.5 lines now in topic. One is that the need is of funding to do all this work, to put energy in, so it's much easier to do it. And that has to do with decision makers and the rural communities because there's funding. Then there has been this half point about, yes, in rural areas, there is more opportunities because things are complicated. I translated a bit there. I paraphrased, but I heard it between the lines. And then there's a very important piece about communities, that working with communities and within communities and community building is a crucial point here, and doing things together. Yes? Is there anything else you want to add?
yeah, for example, in some case, some small groups can be a political thing, and then they are the political makers. And this is really important because when we want to see a change, in some cases we need to do a change, but it's difficult.
Yes.
And when you stay in a small group, you grow, and then you can be a political.
Yes. I will also step out a second out of my role as a moderator and will add something else. And that is, for all this to work, we need education and promoting the idea of promoting the ideas of regeneration, yes? In theory and practice. I just saw it so clearly when this was here. It's a big change. It's a problem. Yes. Sorry, I didn't want to do that. Then I said, we have to, sometimes it's going a step back. So I wanted just to add this. So I have the question about if we're going to share the links of the companies. You have them all on the website of the Convergence. They're already on there, Anna. So maybe just go there. So Gabriela switched on the camera, and John maybe wants to say something else too. So I will leave the two of you. We have like 3 minutes left before going back.
Go ahead, John.
Well, mainly just that we have also with regenerative groups and projects and whatever a good sales argument, that this really that with this funding thing, that you can definitely positively argue that you're going to bring in a lot more in the future, through this system that you're building up. If there's not going to be any tourism or anything if you don't have something to an intact ecosystem that people can even enjoy. They're not going to do any bird watching if there's no birds. Put it that way. Okay.
Okay, now Gabriela.
Yeah, I just want to reinforce the idea that Liz said before regarding changing the mindset and linking about what Anu said before too, that is education and is disseminating the word. That's evangelizing, sometimes that word is used to. Regarding what truly is a regeneration, because as I said before, I have this feeling that in other places of the world, and even here in Europe it happens as well, that there's a lot of ancestral knowledge, and once we are in touch with communities and we start developing these kind of things, I think that it emerges. So yeah, to evangelize the word, it's very, very important in regeneration too. It's crucial as well.
Yes. I know, Anu, you're up. I just want to ask, anybody feels like, before we are being out, anybody feels like presenting this to the whole group, so I don't have to? Maybe Anu, Gabriela, Lis, one of you, the three of you. Anu, are you muted?
No, not very. No.
No, you don't
I
want
can't
to.
get the clue out of this so quickly.
Okay. Lis, Gabriela?
Yeah, me either. I think that how you were catching up everything, but I don't feel capable.
Okay, I will do the presenting then. Okay.
Thank you.
And then we go in. That is really
I'm so sorry. I'm so
conclusion.
sorry. I know I'm extremely late, but I couldn't miss the other one. Sorry.
You're going to get the conclusions of this dialogue. So I hope you had fun in the breakout rooms. We're going to do a last check-in after this, and now we're going to the presentations of the work. So I'm going to share the document again, which takes a couple of seconds. And in our group, they said at the end that I should do the sharing. I don't know in your group. Maybe Lumia's group starts, whoever's going to do the sharing there, so I'm not the one talking.
That's great. We didn't really agree, but I guess maybe Sonia or Daniela, would you feel called to share a little bit? We do have the notes. Yes, here. It's a more of a flow of thoughts.
Sonia, do you want to go?
I was gonna say, you go, Daniela. You're so good at this.
No, that's tricky. That's not saying that by giving me a compliment. You okay?
You start and then I add things. Is that right?
Okay, but Kathy, should be like a summarize the 2 breakouts we already had. You're on mute.
Oh, I muted myself to not bring in noise interruptions. You have like 5 minutes to talk about all of it.
Oof.
So
Okay.
I can give you maybe 7, and then I'm going to share.
I will appreciate if it's a shared. So I will talk to one part, and Sonia, you complement what I'm missing. So I feel there's a lot of resonance in the different perspectives of what we were saying regarding marketing and regeneration. And we explore conscious marketing, regenerative marketing, and we already start talking about patterns in the first part, because we talked about this conflict of still being in the traditional system, in the capitalism, but trying to bring something completely different than regenerative, and the market is not ready for that. So we have that conflict of doing something and communicating regeneratively, but not being received in the way that we need to, so it can be sustained in time. And also you find the other way that people wants to communicate, or we find projects that want to communicate regeneratively, but then the project itself is not regenerative yet. So there's also a conflict and a dissonance. And we were saying how we can communicate and market our touristic projects in a way that is authentic, that builds trust, that is beyond this scarcity mindset, and it goes into abundance and is aligned with the living systems principles. And it asks for us to also to decolonize the marketing, the words, the language ourselves, and to shift the paradigm, and to slow down and be patient, and designed in a way that you can also review yourself and your own process and what's happening, because it's so ingrained in us, the traditional way of doing things, that we tend to collapse easily. Like I tend to collapse easily, as I was sharing. So how can I create and design the conditions for me to review and to become a steward of the word also, of regeneration, and acknowledging that it is complex, and it's more about finding a common language to share that, and that also acknowledging that it is a work that is hard, that is because still we're not there as a society, we're not there as humanity, and we're still very human-centered, still very anthropocentric. So at least a highlight that it was for me is how we can also do more storytelling that is more than human-centered. And I will stop there, and Sonia, please complement what I was saying.
Yeah, I think that was perfectly summarized. But yeah, you were talking, Dani, about also being stewards, stewards of that, this invitation of also being stewards of what it is, of the concept itself, how we talk about it, how we communicate it, and then how do we can we hold the space and then be able to become resilient ourselves as well. And, because that's, we can, as Dani was saying, we can go back to old ways as well. All of a sudden we're doing things that are linear, because it's a transition. At the end of the day, we're in this horizon, with the 3 horizons, we're still transitioning. So we're going to go back and forth and back and forth. So it's about really observing ourselves as well, and listening to ourselves as well. And and how do we navigate being in this old system and this old thinking system when we are talking about something that is completely shifting our mindset, right? So it is a process that needs to be lived, and it's a slow process as well. It's not quick. It's not for for people that want really fast things. So it's not about doing things quickly, but it's how you live and understand, and put it through your body. So I think that was that mostly.
Yeah, I think also challenging our current beliefs and assumptions, and decentralizing was also there, and that I feel is important, and the sense of urgency and perfectionism in marketing also. I think they were important concepts.
Yeah. And connecting, right? The importance of connecting.
And relationships. Building relationships, yeah. So not do it alone.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. As we are all navigating this, we can't do it alone. So
we shouldn't. It's not how living systems work either. So.
Exactly.
So do it together. Do it in collaboration.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's my inner thing. I can't let negative stand. Affirming the collective. So I'll go into the second round of things that we have in common or not that we had in the other group. We got a bit off topic. We started with dialogue with traditional institutions and started talking about other things, but this is where the group wanted to go. So we just went there. So we had this question, the starting question, how to handle dialogue with traditional institutions. And we said in the dialogue, it was said that it is not well known. So we have to start to explain what does it mean. It's often difficult to explain and understand, and often we start just with inviting to a learning process. And then we have a lot of difficulties like finding contacts in institutions, people who don't believe in the process, or the people in the government, which makes it all much more difficult to make and fund. That we're working a lot in territories that do have a lack of primary needs covered. So it's really a difficult situation for people to work in, and that the institution and the politics here, it's public institutions, want fast results, products, exact examples and measurements, and they're often driven by short-term vision and at the same time by bureaucratic regulations that slow down the processes. Yes? And often in disconnection with what is going on in the territory. But there are also some positive things like public funds that help allow develop things, that there is a bit of more of awareness about regeneration, and we have to be careful how to work with it, that it's not being greenwashed, that a lot of regeneration is happening but not publicized, so we don't know about it. It may be regenerative tourism, but it doesn't have the name on it, yes? And that especially in small territories and in small groups, things are starting to get easier and there's more flexibility and people who really want to do it. And yes, and that in general, that regenerative tourism, the one different point that was brought up, there are a lot of other ones, is that it works with a long-term vision, and then it was said it brings a lot of improvement to the territory in the long run, yes? So when we went into causes, we say that the short-term vision is because of the organizational structure, that there are different political lines, that there's a lot of a lack of the right mindset, that stakeholders and decision makers are in the traditional mindset and not prepared to change the attitude, and that it is a big complex process and it needs time for this transformation because you need to leave something behind. And as Sonia just said, you always fall back on it, even if you want to. And those people who are not ready for it, it's even more complex. And then there's also with the small groups, again, they're not taken seriously. They do have extra difficulties, but they also have it easier to be this change maker example projects. And that there's a need to be open and when we work with regenerative, we're working with an evolutionary idea, so we need to be open to see what has happened and comes. Yes, and that it all makes us more open to do things. And then the things we want are the actions, proposals. So we have funding. We need funding and look for funding, because without funding, it's really, really just putting in energy. So we need energy to put in. And also there was said to take a look in areas where things are more complicated, because this also opens up opportunities. If we are the people who are in the comfort zone, they're not looking for solutions as people who are in more difficult situations. Then we have the thing that communities building is crucial, and that it all just about the strength of communities to work in a collective mindset with neighbors, with others, collaborate, because in small groups you get farther, you can make more political influence. That also education and promoting the idea of regeneration in theory and practice to do dissemination work is the groundwork for everything else to work. So if we concentrate on this, we may also give some nutrients to our projects. And there's an interesting sales argument that you bring in a lot in the long run. And for example, for tourism, what tourism can there be if there's no ecosystem? Yes. And then also the thing is to connect with ancestral knowledge, and that it helps. Whew. A lot of ideas, did now the fast one. Sorry, I feel a bit accelerated when we are really consciously trying to be slow, but we got there. Now, Lumia, I would just ask for the link of the Slido.
Yes, I will be putting it in the chat.
We're just going to be doing a closing of this session and of the day in itself. Yes, Daniela wants to say something, so we will let her in for a second, but we really don't have much.
No, very briefly, just on that, because I wasn't in that group, but I wanted to highlight something that Jesus brought to our group that is different take on his work with administration. And at least in Barcelona and Catalonia, they have a good relationship with the concept of regeneration. So at least for me, it gave me hope that some institutions and like public institutions can have that openness to this, just to highlight that.
Okay, thank you, Daniela. So we're going to do a closing, and we're going to do it in 2 steps. First, we're going to do a collective thing, because we do have a link now in the chat. If you open it, it brings you to a word cloud. And this word cloud is just that. You just put in words, and then we see things that came up today. We already have some harvest from the previous session, and so we do have like a collective harvest of the day of all this workshop. So we would just invite you to stay with this for a moment, okay? And just give some feedback, and then we go into a closing individual dialogue would be the next invitation if you take the time, and we finish in 15 minutes, okay? It's really easy to use. You just say add response, and then you write something, yes? And then say send, and it comes up. And we get things in here. You also can use words that you already see and you want to strengthen, then you just write in the same word. And then it gets bigger in this wall. Yeah, we're going to close this piece a bit by bit. Yeah, other things pop up still. Still things are popping up.
I think that was it.
Okay, then we stop I will also mention that we're doing networking meetings once a month, or network meetings. You have the link to write up for those in the second link that is in the chat. So it would be great for it to be. And before we close, we usually just want you to give you some integration time. And the proposal for this is just to send you into some random 2-person breakout rooms, and that you just listen to each other for a couple of minutes. I will give you 4 minutes. So it's 2 minutes, one talking, the other listening, and the other way around. Okay. And if you end up in a breakout room where the other person can't talk or open the mic or anything, then you just come back and we coordinate. Okay. So give me a second. I'm going to create the breakout rooms. And we need this. Yeah. Yeah, Lumia, you just don't go, okay? Oh no, wait, we do something else. So now just go and have, and then I give you 4 minutes, and it's 2 minutes one talking and the other 2 minutes the other talking. So we do just some active listening, okay? And yes, Lumia, you just don't go, okay? I'll come back. So,
Back.
how was that?
We are still recording.
Okay, we pause the recording for a second. Can we do that? Okay, it's nice to see you come back smiling from the breakout rooms always. I love it. It's the best on Zoom's breakout rooms. So we do have 5 minutes left before closing. I would all invite you to come tomorrow. We have a couple of very interesting sessions. Barbara Shelter's presenting Cultural Emergence, which is Luby McNamara's work. So if you know about Luby McNamara and people in permaculture, one of our students is going to hold a workshop tomorrow. And tomorrow we also have a talk about SECAM, which is a big one, also about a interesting regenerative community in Africa. So like eco-village style. So this is also very interesting. And on Friday, we do also have a facilitator who's doing a lot of how to maintain hope in these difficult times with your self-work. So this is going to be beautiful too. And the closing where we just want to come together last time. So if you can make it, we'll really be happy. And now I would like, before we close, just maybe if you feel like opening the microphone and giving a last sentence or writing it in the chat would just be nice to hear different voices than myself talking all the time.
Well, I just want to thank you, Kathy, Lumia, and all the team, because I think that it's been a very rich and interesting session for me. I'm talking personally, and I think that well, the rest will see what they say. But thank you for do this gathering, for all the work that you are doing through peripheral links. I think that it's very important to do community, as I think that is one of the main things that we have repeated today. Thank you for also giving us the chance to introduce our project, and I'm going with a lot of beautiful connections from this event, so thank you very much.
Yeah, well, I will thank also because we need these networks. I think we now have more connections because we need people who think the same way, and we need the support even when we feel a bit frustrated when fighting to the transformation in our own countries and places.
That brings something to me that was said at one of the network meetings we did during the year, where people just said, I'm so lazy before going to this meeting, said I not want to come, and when I come, I'm always thankful, because it always just re-energizes me. And John is bringing in a lot of animals, which also the modern human world is needed. Somebody else?
Yeah, for my side to really thank you, Kathy, because this type of space is really, really important. It's a big step. And yeah, it was a wonderful afternoon, and thank you again.
And thank you to Lumi and Dominic and Mal and everybody who's doing it. And for Sonia, who answered my call
all
in December.
all the team.
And took the time to be there. He's also really busy, I think. We're all really busy, I think.
I just want to say thank you for letting me in. I gotta say it was worth it until the last second. So thank you so much. I hope there's gonna be a recording or something I could follow up with or stay in touch with some of you. I had a chat with Vicky. It was already like 4 minutes, very interesting. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you all. And see you tomorrow. Maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, you're very welcome to join any and all the sessions. And yeah, thank you very much also from my side for this very, very enriching session and the day.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
All of you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.